All right. Yeah. So, okay, I'm just recording the session as well for the people who haven't joined. We can they can refer to it later on. What we'll be covering today. So, we'll be covering some basic concepts. If I talk about slide 2, this is an introduction session where we just briefly introduce ourselves, and then we go on to understand some algorithms, how data science and AIML works. Then what is the difference between traditional AI versus Gen AI? Some applications from AI. Then there are some advantages, disadvantages, which we go through. I won't really precisely go through disadvantages in this session, but we'll definitely cover it later. Top AI tools and best practices which we are looking at, some challenges which we face in Gen AI, also kind of disadvantage, but uh, not really a disadvantage. It's mainly around the challenges which get implicated in external world. That's what we are trying to do. And at overall level, what we are planning to do is like do a 2 to 3 hours of introductory session for data science and NLP. Why NLP? Because before we jump in LLMs and Gen AI, we need to understand why we process the data, what kind of data we process. Then text images is majorly what we are looking at, but NLP is the base of natural language processing, is mainly for text processing, text mining algorithm which we use, and techniques which we use in these. So that would be like couple of hours, 2 to 3 hours of what I cover, and then 5 to 6 hours of GenAI theory and applications. This will include some coding for LLMs. So we'll be doing some hands-on coding. I'll be showing you and giving you exercises as well. So you can go and attempt them on your own, develop a POC. This will also cover your prompt engineering, you know, angle. So prompt engineering is nothing but basically when you train your models in LLMs and GenAI. So you give GenAI is nothing but generative text, right? So when you give your inputs, like if you ask a question from a chatbot, it gives you certain answers. So that's what prompt engineering is, where you give the input and the output is coming from the models. Then we'll go through a couple of hours for agentic AI training. So agentic AI is nothing but setting up agents. Uh, so you will heard of Chat GPT. So we are doing nothing but there are a lot of agents and basically communication setups which we have set up. So that's what we are covering. In next session, we'll give you a brief also around what agentic AI is. I'm not covering it in this session, so that's the gist of what I'm trying to do. Now, the goal is to be able to understand and produce LLMs. If I have to give you a POC model, if you have to build a POC model in your organization, you'll be able to develop a basic LLM model and set up some AI agents for them. AI agents are specifically used, in customizations. Like if you talk about uh, banking industry, so in banking industry, there would be certain requirements for retail banking versus commercial banking, corporate banking. So we can definitely customize them. Similarly, other industries like education and like if I say insurance, so we can definitely customize them for portfolios. So that's why it comes into picture and is useful. Personalization and customization, what we are looking at. Secondly, when we go towards data science now, any questions at this point?
Oh, sir.
All right.
No,
uh,
no.
if you want, we can just briefly introduce ourselves as well. So like I given a brief introduction. If you know we on the call, like three of us can just introduce. So Divyansh can start with your introduction.
So my name is Divyansh and I am a fourth year student at NSUT
Yeah.
and I am currently pursuing my uh, degree in CSE with specialization in mathematics and computing. And currently I would be joining as a SD intern at PhonePe in January. And I wanted to utilize this time to learn about major industry skills that can help me learn and implement things.
Great. So yeah, definitely, we look here to learn and grow. So obviously there would be some sessions, query sessions as well. We can use them to, check on whatever questions or queries we have later on in the sessions. And yeah, if you can later on produce something on your own, that would be great as well from the sessions. Aman, hi Aman. So I know Aman,
Yeah,
but yeah, please introduce Aman. Hi.
yeah. Hi, everyone. So my name is Aman, and I've done my bachelor's from in mathematics from DU, and post graduation in applied OR again from
Yeah,
Delhi University. So I have around 14 years of experience in industry, mainly into the you can say statistical modeling. Majorly, my experience has been into banking, where I'm currently, my role requires me to validate IFRS 9 models, which are basically regression models, logistic regression, and regulatory models. So I'm into credit risk mainly. Yeah.
thanks Aman. So yes, welcome, and we'll try to just learn together. So I am also, whatever I know, I will sharing in the sessions, and definitely you guys can give your inputs wherever you think there's more to it, because AI never stops. So yeah, thanks.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you.
So coming back to the slides. So let's go to the basics of data science. So as we know, data science is a combination of scientific methods, process, algorithms, and systems. So majorly, it requires key, knowledges around computer science, maths and science, statistics, and domain knowledge. So this comes from your college. So if I talk about computer science knowledge, basics comes from the college. Maths and stats comes from the education, definitely. But domain knowledge is something where we expertise around some years. So that's where experience comes into picture, and software and research. So those are the things which enables us to gain experience over the time in the industry. Now, data science life cycle. So if we briefly talk about how we work on it. First of all, identify the problem. So you don't really need to identify in real world. If we already have set up and we already know about things, there are challenges which businesses face. So in real world, we basically solve those challenges using data science. So there are some problem statements, some goals. For example, this training here, we have a goal to learn agentic AI and chat GPT and LLM stuff. So that's the end goal for us. Similarly, the others. Second is basically identify available data sources. So what is your data period available, data source available. So sometimes you will have data sets available, sometimes we'll not have data sources available. In that case, we'll discuss how we go about for the cases where data is not available. So if you are introducing a new product in the market, there won't be a data available readily. So what do we do in that scenario? We go to market, we go to benchmarking exercises, etc. That's how we collect data, or we produce data through vendors. And in case of new products, definitely sometimes we have to just wait as well. So that's one thing. Then third step would be identify data sources as needed. So as we mentioned, additional data sources like market surveys, we can create market surveys, benchmarking exercises, etc. Then next is statistical analysis, and post that it is implementation and development. So statistical analysis is nothing but basically your EDA exercises, how you understand, how do you analyze the data, remove outliers and missing values from there. Similarly, some implementation and development around it. How do we train our models? How do we analyze the model results? So these are the things which we standard as a process we do. Important step is communicate results, and make them. So your audience is always, either the senior management or the technical guys sitting behind. So you have to create a balance between your tech and non-tech knowledge, and to communicate results in, kind of layman language so that everyone understands easily. You have to be so, you have to understand in a way that basically if a 10-year-old child is sitting, he can also understand it. That's the, gist of it. So once you have done that, it comes the maintenance part. So maintenance is subjective to, what we are trying to do. So sometimes we are building models, sometimes we are looking at different analysis. So we try to work on monitoring and tracking. A lot of things happen in dashboards. Then we also maintain our AIML model. Suppose you have introduced a new product in the market. Now that new product post development is, being used in the market and has some defect. So a lot of times you call back the product and you fix them. So those are the things which we cover in this life cycle. ML algorithms. So there are a lot of algorithms which we, look at. Uh, these are basically a gist of, supervised, unsupervised, and reinforcement learnings. So if I talk about different techniques, so majorly it's, the regression and clustering. If we talk about machine learning, supervised and unsupervised, what we do is here we do a lot of sales forecasting models, time series forecasting models. uh, these are the, regression, stepwise regression, multivariate. Then clustering. So regression is where you optimize your model results and try to, look at prices or, decisions. Clustering is where you try to develop similarities, identify those similarities and patterns between them. So if you have like, a cluster of bag full of balls, you're trying to find similarities and which are red, which are blue, and you try to cluster them out. So that's how we cluster them based on similarities. Decision trees again as something, we use for decision making. So for example, if the loan should be taken or not. So it's also a logistical model, but then you optimize them, you can do a lot of things. So these are the techniques which we can use. A lot of them are there, and if I tell you frankly, there are a lot of new ones as well. Okay, dimensionality reduction. So this is very important, when we are dealing with a lot of data and a lot of attributes. So by attributes, I mean if you have data sets where you have a lot of columns and a lot of fields in the data to analyze. So for example, you have probably 1,000 columns in the data, and you want to understand which one should be taken, which one shouldn't be taken. So the characteristics, algorithms like principal component analysis can be used. So this basically helps in reducing your dimensionalities, giving you the significance of each attribute in your data. Suppose there are 1,000 columns we are talking about. If I run a PCA algorithm on it, by characteristics we will get some lambda values. So what it gives me is significance. So significance is basically from 0 to 1. What I do is, you will get, suppose there are 15 or 20 attributes which contribute to 90% of importance, 90% of your data importance which you get from the values. So that's the 20 columns I'm going to take from the data, and we'll probably test and, perform experimentation on the other ones. So this is like a basic model problem which we are talking about. We do optimize, we do consider the other 80 as well, but we look at them separately. All right. So these are basically some algorithms we're talking about. We can definitely go and detail, but I'm trying to focus more on, AI and NLP stuff here. So this is just an introduction. If you want, to, analyze or discuss in detail about anything, we can definitely have another session on this. Now, understanding differences in AI ML. So as I told, it's a very thin line of difference when we are talking about what is AI, what is ML. So AI is actually full of it. When we are doing machine learning, models. Anything in stats, we are trying to predict models. We are trying to develop sales forecasting. So in the end, we are doing predictions. So we are trying to predict what is going to happen in future, or what is the production probability of something happening, is where we are trying to find the trends around. So that's everything covered in machine learning. So it says algorithm whose performance improves as they are exposed to more data over time. Now, what is deep learning? So as soon as you look at all the parameters, when it, especially when you're dealing with images, videos, multi-layer of data sets, and then large data sets, that is where deep learning comes into picture. So deep learning is basically your neural networks, you know um, algorithms like CNN and techniques are used to basically unfold your vast amounts of data. Majorly, if I talk about all the facial recognition systems, computer vision, image processing, because these are huge data sets and huge uh, data deep dive is needed. So if I talk about an image, that image is basically broken down into small chunks. We'll go over it, how we analyze an image, but that's how we do it. It basically it's breaking down into multiple thousands and 10,000s of small images and then analyzed. Deep learning applications, if I talk about some virtual assistants, autonomous vehicles, facial recognition, as I mentioned, then chatbots, sounds additional to silent films, colorization of black and white images. So these are some basic ones. Definitely the list goes on. So chatbots are there. These days we also use generative AI to do those chatbots, personalize them. Personally, I've done a POC where we were trying to do a customization for the education industry for the students. Could be 7 8 year old, could be 5 year old, and it could be 15-year old as well. So that's the nature of AI, and that's how it can customize based on the age needs as well. As we mentioned earlier, these algorithms and applications which we look at. So any questions at this point before we move ahead? All right. So assuming there's no questions at this point, coming to data science applications. So now, as I told, we have supervised learning, unsupervised learning, and reinforcement learning. These are another categories of anomaly detection and all, but majorly we have three, kind of learning parameters which we look at different types of ML models. Supervised is basically where we have an input data, you divide it into train and test sample where you have a learning parameter. So you define a test sample, you learn from it, and then you test it on another sample of data from the same data set. Unsupervised is where you try to find patterns and you do not really keep on hold any of your data. You give everything you have. So we give all the unlabeled data, and we try to look at different perspectives and patterns which we look into, which we observe in the data sets. Supervised is obviously labeled data because we also divide it and we have labels around it. Reinforcement. Now reinforcement is where actually we are working on everything. So you see all the robots, chatbots, gamings. So this is all reinforcement learning. So reinforcement is where basically you set up models, you learn, you have trained them, you have set up in real life applications, but they still keep learning on their own. They keep training the models and optimizing on their own as well from the data they gather. That's the gist of it. Now what are the applications when we are looking at supervised classification, regression, weather forecasting, fraud detection, customer retention, population growth prediction, etc. So majorly forecasting and predictions around decisions. Unsupervised learning, target marketing, recommendation systems, custom segmentation. So one thing common you will see is identifying patterns. So recommendation is based on your user history, your product history, market history of what they have preferred before. Then similarly, customer segmentation is based on what customer prefers, how they should be, categorized into different groups based on their choices. So these are different, segments which we want to look at when we are dealing with uh, different models. Now, reinforcement learning. This is where we are trying to focus on Gen AI as well at some point. Robotic navigation, the learning task, skill acquisition, games, AI. So majorly, as I told, you have already developed models, you have put it into application, but still they keep learning on their own. So reinforcement, as the name suggests, it basically keeps on improving and learning the models on its own as well. Another set of data science applications in different industry. So e-commerce, healthcare, manufacturing, etc. Manufacturing is kind of important to understand if someone is in supply chain and trying to look at uh, how the manufacturing units operate. E-commerce definitely is something like Amazon. You look at how Amazon uses chat GPTs and data science applications when they're working on it. Healthcare industry, so medical image analysis, bioinformatics, virtual assistants, and a lot of things more than these happen in healthcare these days. Uh, for example, the sales and reps which go on to connect with doctors and how to predict their commissions, how to predict the sales for the companies. So a lot of things happen in data science. So everything comes under data science. Transport, self-driving cars, car monitoring systems, etc. Autonomous vehicles is another category, self-driving cars, which is being tested right now, and you already have some features available in cars these days. You will find a lot of cars, autonomous taxis in US these days as well. Then finance is customer segmentation, risk analytics, etc. So these are the details which you look at. Data science software platforms, R and Python was initially something we used to use. R is kind of phased out now. What we look at is the different clouds because a lot of data is being processed. Python still remains as a language, SAS, Python, SQL. The basic languages remain the same. The cloud usages like Databricks, Azure, AWS. These are the major contenders. Then Google, GCP, if you talk about. So these are the prime cloud infrastructures which we use. Cloud is nothing, but basically you have everything in one cloud atmosphere, so you can access it remotely through memberships and subscriptions. That's how it is placed. And in the backend, you have their huge data processing. So you can store your data at one service level. You have different services for each of them. You can store your data, access your data, restrict your data for users, go ahead and develop models, and those models can develop can be implemented to APIs websites. So you have like YouTube. YouTube is nothing but basically you upload a YouTube video, it goes into the backend, so saves in their servers, and it through APIs it is retrieved whenever you try to upload or you try to download a video. That's where these links are important, URLs. Now, this was a brief introduction on what we are looking at in terms of data science, ML, to understand why we are using it, what applications are there. Now, we'll slightly jump on to the next part, which is, traditional AI versus Gen AI. Let's try to see how it is different. what is there in Gen AI? Traditional AI was it solves specific tasks with predefined rules, employs supervised learning and discriminative models. Apologies for that. Uses a wide range of effective applications like automated insights, predictive modeling, NLP, etc. Then generative AI, how is it different? It is an artificial intelligence capable of generating text, images, and other media using generative models. So you might have seen a very prominent application these days is generating videos out of text. So what people are doing is they're generating images and videos out of text they process. So if I talk about, if I type in a monkey jumping on road, a monkey jumping on swimming pool, so you will still get images and videos around it as per what your requirement is, and that's how a lot of fake images and fake videos are also a problem these days. So those are the challenges which we generally face through AI. But on the positive side, that's how you can generate images and videos these days. So uses unsupervised learning and generative models. Gen AI focuses on creating newly synthesized content like text, images with astonishing levels of originality and creativity. As I told, I recently saw a video where there was a bungee jumpy in the backyard of a ground park, and an elephant kid was basically jumping on it. So that's not really reality. It's just an image processed through inputs. Okay. Before I go on to this next slide, when we talk about images and videos, so just to mention that if you have 10 tons of thousands of images combined together in a systematic process, that is what forms a video. Just to mention, I know a lot of people would already know this, but a combination of thousands and uh, hundreds of thousands of images basically create a video. Now coming to generative AI specifically in terms of what the words means. Generative is defined as able to produce or create something. Generative AI has been applied to more precise models that may produce new or previously unseen information dependent on data. Anything produced through imaginary stuff was all generative AI. Anything produced through previous seen data. So if I talk about if you have Amazon libraries, you have like texts of ebooks, lot of content in it. You don't want to read through it. We can just process it through Gen AI. That's what Google search is. Google is a collection of all the enormous data we have in this world. What it does is it optimizes you in a fraction of a second. You get your information from the search. It solves the purpose. That's the reason it's there. Now, generative AI is not some form of arcane magic. It's a processing model in the end. So depending on what RAM you're using, how much processing speeds we are using, that is where the catch is. A model remains a similar processing thing. It can definitely be improved through algorithms and different techniques, but processing remains similar. Now the thing is, why we use clouds? Because the clouds give you enormous storage. They can process huge amounts of data. You can do quick batch processing of data sets. If you have 5 TB of data, you don't process it on local. That's where cloud comes into picture. It can operate on that 5 TB of data in seconds. It gives you enormous power to select depending on what processing speeds and RAM you select. You can definitely do it without purchasing a system because it uses the cloud computation power in this. Yeah, so that's what we want to understand through generative AI basics. Advantages of AI, as some of the things I've already told, but basically personalizing experience, content, and product recommendations. So majority of the world, if you see, is working towards personalization, customer segmentation, etc. is all personalization. Previously, he had limited amount of data, and when we were working on different models, we used to refer to machine learning very frequently. Nowadays, everything comes towards AI frequently. It's just a magic of words, but yeah, definitely, we are going towards a generation where everything is automated these days. You're easily getting what you want to from the data from your world. It's all automated, gadgets friendly data. Generates personalized investment recommendations, analyze market data, boost creativity, leading to idea generation. So if you identify a problem statement, so every business is what? They have identified a problem statement and solved it. It can be a product, it can be a service, but they have just done it. That's the reason they are selling in the market. Customizing learning experience, produce resources for education, university, businesses, saves time and manual effort. Okay, a lot of time is saved. Autonomous tasks, automates monotonous tasks, frees up HR for more complex and challenging endeavors. So if I talk about basic tasks are already automated in this world. A lot of them, a lot of complex ones are also automated. What it does is, because for example, if we were developing a machine learning model before, we used to create a model, we used to code it, we used to run it through data sets, compare it, multiple runs and how it is coming up before we train and test it further. So nowadays it's on a mouse click. So you have features, no coding platforms where you can easily just upload your data, analyze it quickly. It will provide you all the outliers, missing values. You can analyze them, replace them, and just do it on mouse clicks. So that's how no coding platforms are useful. If anyone can work on it. But coming on to the next part, what it does, it saves your time. You would develop the model, code it, go into the next stage. You have saved all of that time. You're focusing more on analysis. We are analyzing it, we are trying to understand, and we are producing results. Open new path for self-expression and exploration, as we mentioned briefly. You get more time for analysis, right? Yeah, so these are, some of the text to image generators, for example, Deep AI, Replicate, Dream Studio, Hugging Face, Night Cafe, Starry AI. So these are some, applications which you find in real world. You can use OpenAI is one of the famous ones which has been there. Okay, you might have heard of OpenAI. Hugging Face is another one, and Replicate is one another application you can explore tonight and look at what it does. Then there are more to it. List never ends. There are many products in the market. So if you will go and check, there are products in the market which can build an app and website in 5 minutes. So that's the level of no code platforms we are looking at. You don't have to know the coding today. You don't have to go into deep insights. You can just build your product directly. You can work on it directly, and that's how it works. Text to image generators. So text to images, uh, as we mentioned, you input your text, you get images out of it. So we do it through models. How do we do it? We'll understand this. And further, the thing is they can't only visualize the written content but create different kinds of styles. So what if you input one content, and you want to generate an image for the same, you will not get one image, you will get multiple images for options. They will analyze the qualities, different kinds of styles for you, and provide you different images and the best ones you can select for your options. use of generative AI in research, so automated literature search, summarizing, topic clustering and trend identification. So if we talk about a lot of digital marketing and social media marketing happens these days, it is all about identifying the trend. So you will see a lot of viral content is there on these days on what are the viral topics, who is the most searched celebrity, then a video uploaded overnight went viral. Everyone would try to follow that trend. So these are the things which generative AI has pushed for us. Citation and referencing assistance. So there are applications. So previously there used to be people taking meeting notes as well. Now we have applications which create meeting notes for you. You don't need to work on it. There is an application where if I'm on a video call with you, there's a Microsoft Teams meeting or any other video call going on, that application basically creates meeting notes. At the same time, if I talk about any topics in the meeting, it will create Google links for that meeting as well. So it will provide you meeting notes along with Google links for the topic, specific topics to search. So you can directly click on the links and go on and read more about it. That's the level of sophistication and automation we are dealing with right now. Plagiarism detection. So this is important. We basically deal with a lot of fake videos, fake documents, and a lot of illegal activities as well, which happen through. So technology helps us to identify that as well. I understand technology can trigger that as well, but definitely we can use technology for positive mindset and try to identify something like that. Language translation, definitely we can use Google Translate and any other platform. You can quickly just translate and go around anywhere in the world, in different world countries as well. All right, so these are basically some things we have discussed already. Just give me a minute. I'll pause on for a minute and we'll continue again. I'll be back in a minute. Yeah. Right, so I'm back. Any questions at this point? We have discussed very brief. I know we are mainly going through the introduction session here, trying to understand what we are looking at. But yeah, let me know if there's anything you want to check on this.
Hi, Mohit. So, just out
I
of,
am
curiosity, yeah. So, Chat GPT, would we say that it is an example of Gen AI?
Yes, it's an example of Gen AI.
Okay.
Basically, it's an application for Gen AI. So
Hmm.
you might have heard of Copilot and Gemini and other platforms these days. So Google has
Yes.
their own
Yes.
platform, and Microsoft
Yeah.
came up with Copilot. So these
Copilot.
are all competitors for ChatGPT also. Backend could be similar, but these companies are basically using the same applications for users. And recently, I heard of Perplexity. Airtel has offered an agreement with them,
Yeah.
so very soon we'll see AI there as well for free subscriptions. Right now, like
Yeah.
ChatGPT is chargeable for using
Yes. Yeah. So my question was on the similar lines that suppose if there is a company right now, there is a co-pilot with Microsoft and there is a chat GPT. All these companies now can use these Gen AI models, right? Or the prompts. to generate
Yes.
from anything from code to, or they can take a paid subscription or integrate their Microsoft Word, Excel with Copilot, right? And
Mhm.
do can do their work quite easily or automate things, right? So now why there is a more need to develop more Gen AI models, because some of these have already been developed and widely used.
Yes. So what happens is, see, basically they have already developed a lot of stuff, but technology keeps improving. So we keep looking at different new problem statements coming up. So as the technology comes into play, it comes in with some challenges as well. So like, a lot of work is going on around the fake videos, deep fakes, and fake images which are being produced these days. So those are the things which triggers, and then sophistication of models. So if suppose there is a technology today, version 2.0, there will always be a version 3.0 which makes it more easy for people, easier and user friendly to work with. So these things trigger, more automation. I don't know what extent we'll go in, but yes, definitely. Does that
Okay.
answer that question?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, no. Thanks. Thanks a lot.
All right, thanks. Yep. So what we'll do is, because we'll keep going on with this PPT to understand more about it. You can drop me queries also later on. We have WhatsApp chat. I'll make a email group as well post this, so that we can connect through emails and WhatsApp chat if needed whenever. And I'll also post this video recording for other people who haven't joined to go through it and look into it later on. But yes, let's finish at 10:30 today. So let's go next 10 minutes and try to understand more about it. We'll continue this in the next session. And what we'll do is we'll start with, having more frequent sessions since we have started today. Uh, Probably 2 to 3 days. What do you say? I'm planning to have like one session in 3 days. You can give your inputs. Open for that. Because if I do it too
Yeah.
frequently, people might not be able to follow up and join. So I am assuming that if I do a session in 3 days, people who are not able to join can at least go through the videos, go through the understanding part of it, and then come back if they have more doubts on them. So I'll keep frequently sharing through emails and WhatsApp. So probably just keep following the messages on the groups as well for following sessions. Okay, thank you. uh, Coming back to implications of generative AI. So as we were talking about, what's the need for future when we are looking at it. So biasness and fairness. So one of the generative AI is basically may inherent biases present in the training data. This has been there. This has been there for years. We have been looking at removing biases from models when we were working on ML and data science. Now everything comes down to removing those biases. So whenever you will create an image, whenever you're trying to process a model, there would be some biases in the model which we try to minimize. We might not be able to remove everything from the model. In real life, biasness is something which exists. What we do is we try to replace it or try to minimize it as much as possible. Now, suppose Compass over predicts the risk for women to reoffend, therefore leading to unfair sentencing of female offenders. This is the statement. Now, what it shows is basically the Colombian law doesn't forbid the use of AI in court decisions like ChatGPT, etc. So these days, everywhere, ChatGPT is there. So students are very frequently using it, and I don't know how much they will learn, because I have personally felt. So I conducted a 5 week training in one of the universities. Every student in my class was using ChatGPT to answer. So any question you ask them, they'll first type it on ChatGPT and try to answer that. So I'm not sure how much they will learn in the end, but yeah, it can provide you all the answers. So for example, this is another example. Doctor yelled at the nurse because she was late. Who was late? In the sentence, doctor yelled at the nurse because she was late. The pronoun she refers to nurse. So the nurse was late. So these are the kind of inputs which we go. Let's do one thing. Let's stop here. I want to just quickly share a POC, quick POC with you guys before we go ahead and look at more examples. So this was developed using ChatGPT 3. Right now you have more later versions of ChatGPT in the market. Let me try and zoom in. Is it visible? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
It's
All right.
visible.
Yeah. Okay. I'll try to zoom in more. So this is just a small customized model for using OpenAI and ChatGPT applications, LangChain model. So what the base for this is, basically we are trying to build a customized. So you have ChatGPT. ChatGPT is nothing but basically all the Google search present in the world. But we don't want that. What I want to do here is customize it for education industry or a specific industry. So I've developed a small POC model where we are trying to do a customization for education. So if a student wants to come up and check the course, so if I have 10 books to study today for my exam tomorrow, I can search for specific questions and I can just input what exactly I want to learn, what I have to look at. Like for example, interview questions, you have lists of 50 questions most frequently asked in the data, most frequently asked in the interviews. So we can quickly not go through reading all the books. We can just quickly go through Google search, or you can quickly go, give the input to the same models. So LangChain is basically a package which we have used here. OpenAI is the application which we are using via, website APIs. PyPDF is a parser. So there are some PDF files we're using and trying to read them in the process. This POC is nothing but basically there's a food recipe books, ebooks, which we have given. So you can give probably 10 food recipe ebooks and just ask questions. So this in the end goes to the chatbot models. So if you have a front end chatbot or a customer care agent, they can easily answer your question. So like you go to Zomato, these days you have automated agents for them. When we are asking for a refund or a query around billing or order issue, something like that. So there are no customer humans sitting in the back end for this for specific queries until there is a separate outlier which we are looking at for a query. So these make it easier for the companies to handle. This will basically give you a customized chatbot, customer care agent for any industry you want to work in. So we have done simple installation of some packages, and we will go in detail when we start coding. I'm just showing you around one application based model which can be used frequently. So LangChain embeddings.openai. So OpenAI embeddings is nothing but basically when we process text, there are some packages and libraries we import. So this is the kind of library we are importing and trying to use them. Text splitter, vector store. So we first operate on text. If we have given 10 ebooks, it will process your 10 ebooks in training model. It will create tokens and keywords into it. From those keywords it will pick most frequently used data, and this is all NLP stages if I talk about natural language processing, but we use through packages here to make it easier. uh, Once you have segmented and processed your data, it is in a readable format. You create vectors out of it. So this is the package FAISS we are using to vector store. So it will create vectors from your keywords which we have used in the data. Now, this is the input. So here we have just given one ebook. but you can give n number of ebooks. That's not a problem. This is just a sample we are showing. We process the data. This is the text we are processing. So I'll go towards the end. These are the text files processed in the data set. And towards the end, if I come towards the end, this is the model we have trained. So if you see here, this is the model we are running now. On the raw text we have input. Now, when we study the text and we process it, so document search, this is the statement where we are kind of providing our model and processing those inputs. Now, coming through the lang chain, we process a query. So query input by the user is what is the recipe for eggless chocolate cake. So we have just done a keyword query where we have input the value of your input coming from the customer and process it through the LangChain model. So what it gives me the recipe for eggless chocolate cake below. Similarly, any other query, like this is all because it's a food recipe thing. So if you're looking at bread pudding recipe, we can easily just give an input and get our answers back. So this is a very quick turnaround of, if I talk about customize and personalization of ChatGPT in real life. But what we can do is much more than this. You can create videos out of it. You can create images as well. And definitely without any, without any effort, we can do everything today. What I'll do is we'll stop here for the day and try to share these PPT and video recordings with you so that you can go through it. In the next session, we'll start from here itself and we'll go on to the next stages where we basically try to understand, okay, what is prompt engineering, how do we do it, and then how we process the models and any platforms which we can use for the prompt engineering models. Then session 3 would be about developing a model. We will develop a POC. I'll show you how we can work on a working model in the GenAI space, and I'll give you some assignments as well to go home and try to develop yourself. This will give you a very nice basic understanding of how do you develop a basic model, and once you have that basic understanding, you can definitely go and work on advanced stage. So one thing I'm assuming here is, we are all learning and I'm trying to cover from the basics. You might already know LLMs very well in case, you've already studied it, but I'm just trying to cover it from the basics so that everyone can follow it and try to gain and come to level 1 from a beginner stage. So once we attain level 1, we'll go to level 2. All right. Uh, Thanks for attending the session today. Let me know if you have any questions, any other doubts. Feel free to just ping me. You have the number on WhatsApp group as well. So try to use that WhatsApp group for doubts and be interactive there so that we can, follow easily. And yeah, I'll try to answer your queries as soon as possible there. Thank you. Let me know
Sure.
if there's anything else. All right. Bye. Thanks a lot for your time.